Hello, I'm Mrs Emmett. I'm Head of Science at Outwood Academy Bydales, and I'm just going to talk to you about what the Science Department offers Year 11 students. The Science Department is well staffed. There are 7 teachers. They are all specialists in their subject. They have a number of years of experience behind them teaching GCSE level and have a proven record of gaining very good marks out of students, allowing them to access the highest possible grades that they can. We also benefit from having a science director who comes into the academy twice a week and will work with students on a small group basis or a one-to-one basis, depending on what the needs are. As you can see from the slides, the 2019-20 results were an improvement on the previous years, and they show an exceptionally high comparison to the national average, with 100% of our triple students getting 5+ a grade in biology and physics, 99% in chemistry, and a number of those triple students gaining the top level grade 9s. At combined science, again, we've increased on what we have in previous years, with 90% of the students gaining a 4+, which is a good pass grade. In terms of the pathways through the GCSE Science course, there's 2 possible routes that students can take. There's the triple science route, where students study biology, chemistry and physics as separate subjects, and as a result they gain 3 separate distinct GCSE grades at the end, 1 in biology, 1 in chemistry, 1 in physics. Then there's the combined pathway, where students still study all of biology, all of chemistry and all of physics, but due to having a slightly lower amount of content to study, they leave with 2 grades, which are a combination of the 3 subject results that they've got from the different papers that they would sit. If we take a look at the combined science pathway, the students will sit 6 separate papers, 2 in biology, 2 in chemistry and 2 in physics. The units that they study are quite distinct to the different papers. So biology paper 1, the questions will relate to cell biology, cell organisation, infection and response and bioenergetics, whereas the paper 2 is about homeostasis and response, inheritance, variation, evolution and ecology. However, it's worth bearing in mind that on all the papers there is a small amount of crossover in knowledge between the 2 papers, and in some cases there's crossover between the actual subjects as well. So in both chemistry and physics, students study atomic structure, and they'd be expected to recall information about atomic structure on both the chemistry paper and the physics paper. Students who follow the combined science pathway will end up sitting 6 separate papers, each 1 hour 15 minutes long. The results of the paper 1s that they sit will combine to make one of their 2 grades, and the results of the paper 2s will combine to make the 2nd grade. Students are tested not only on their recall of information that they've been given in their science lessons, but also their ability to apply that knowledge elsewhere, to analyse information relating to that knowledge that they've been given, to apply math skills to questions, and also they are required to know 21 different practicals that they'll have done in school and recall information from those practicals and apply them into different exam questions. There are 2 options for trilogy students, combined students. They can either end up sitting the foundation papers or they can sit the higher papers. If they sit the foundation papers, the highest grade that they can get is a 5.5, but they can get grades right down to a 1.1. If they're on the higher paper or the higher tier, they can get grades right through from 4.4s right the way up to a 9.9. So a large spread of very good grades can be achieved on combined higher papers. Students who follow the triple pathway will again sit 6 separate papers, 2 in biology, 2 in chemistry and 2 in physics. The units that are covered on each paper are the same as the units for combined science. However, as a biology student, there would be extra information that they would need to know in some of these units that would test their knowledge and their understanding a little bit further, and this would be the same on the chemistry paper and on the physics paper. But as you can see here, the papers are split into very specific units that students can revise for. However, it is worth bearing in mind some of the concepts in paper 1 can be related to questions in paper 2, so students do need to be able to move their knowledge between the 2 papers. Again, on the chemistry for triple students, there's 2 papers. The units covered are shown on the slide here, and they are the same as what a combined student would study, but with some additional work that needs to be covered, content that is a little bit trickier than what the combined students would be studying. And again, with the physics GCSE, there's 2 papers, each with their own set of units. The units are the same as the combined pathway. However, physics paper 2, there is one whole unit that is not studied by the combined students. It is unique to the physics GCSE. As with the other units, there are some content overlap between the combined papers and the triple papers, but with a little bit extra on the triple papers. But due to the additional information that students need to have on the triple pathway, the exam papers are slightly longer. These will be 6 1-hour 45-minute papers that the students will need to sit. Paper 1 and paper 2 for the biology will combine to give them their biology grade, and the same will happen for the chemistry and the physics. So each paper ends up being worth 50% of the final GCSE. Just like on the combined pathway, students not only have to recall information that they have been given and taught in school, but they also have to apply this knowledge into unique situations, different contexts. They have to be able to analyse data that they've seen, and they also need to know the required practicals just the same as the combined students did. Here at Bydales, we only study higher tier triple science. Due to a number of reasons, that decision was made. So students, if they're on the triple paper, they have to show that they are able to achieve at least a grade 4 on the triple papers, and they have to have shown that in mock results consistently for us to allow them, or recommend them at least, to sit the triple papers. Part of this reason is that if they do score lower than a 4, they will not get a GCSE at all, and we don't want that to happen to students. The science department offers a number of different support mechanisms to students studying science. We have things like the revision guides, which we provide to any student that doesn't already have their own. We have workbooks available for them to use for both the required practicals and for revision purposes. We provide after academy enrichment every Thursday, 2:30 till 3:30. Staff are also around at other times of the day where students can go to them for help. We have direct time. As mentioned before, Mr. Pratt will come in and work with individual students or small groups of students to either complete gaps in their knowledge or to work parallel alongside teaching staff, so that small group work can be more intense and more focused on individual students. There is a science tutor group as well that students can be selected for depending on how they're doing in mock exams. Some students have option science available to them as well. We do provide support via Google Classrooms. Emails are also a way that you can get in touch with us if you feel your child is struggling with science, or if the child themselves feels like they're struggling. We direct students to a number of different revision resources that they can use. Educate, which students are familiar with for a number of years, and there's also apps such as Seneca, which allow students to do small flashcard tests on themselves. And in the next few weeks we should be launching something called GCSE Pod, and this is to just all Year 11s here at Bydales, and this will allow students to access very short videos and tests that they can just build up their own knowledge at home. So students can access these small videos, they're about 4 or 5 minutes long, alongside exam questions and information sheets that they can use for their own revision purposes, but also that staff can direct them towards if we notice gaps in their knowledge that may not have been picked up before sitting mock exams. As I said, this will be launched in the next few weeks, and students will be shown exactly how they can use it. These are the revision guides that we recommend as a science department, CGP. They're quite easy to read, they cover all the facts that students need, and they do link to online versions as well, so students don't have to carry around the paper versions all the time. There are ones for the 3 separate sciences on the triple pathway, and there's also a higher tier and a foundation tier version in the combined science. Students will be directed towards which version of the revision guides is most relevant to them. We recently completed an audit asking all the students who already had revision guides, and for those students that don't currently have any type of revision guide for science, we do provide them, and those will be coming out within the goodie bags.